careers in gerontology and adult services. And so we have here with us Professor Susie Calderon, and she's going to be talking with us about the certificate in applied gerontology. But she's also going to tell us a little bit more about the different careers that you can have. We also have a whole career panel, including Jennifer Vega, who's here, as well as a couple of other Cal State LA alumni who are going to be in here telling us about their experiences working in this field. So we're recording in case anybody has to leave early, or in case others are interested who aren't here. And so hopefully we'll all be here to enjoy learning about this really exciting career path, which is not what a career path that you would normally think for child development majors, but in child development, we learn about the whole lifespan. And so there are a lot of great opportunities for this career field. So we're excited to learn more about it. And with that, I'm gonna let Professor Calderon go ahead and take over and share her slides and get started.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dennis. Let me go ahead and get into a full screen here. Okay, there we are. All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Susie Calderon, and I'm here, I think, with this great opportunity to talk about two different populations that can certainly not just live together in a sense of in family, but also in areas of daycare centers, right? I was just talking to Dr. Dennis about this new amalgamation, if you will, of people coming together in a sense in a daycare center where there's both the young children and then also very older persons, right? So that's what it's really all about here, is being able to see how that would maybe enlighten someone as to, even though they're working with children, maybe how to think about working with older adults. So I'm hopefully going to get to that place. I'm just so excited to see Jennifer, by the way. I see you here, and thank you for being here. I know I was just telling Dr. Munger too that, you know, we're coming out of work and we're just finally settling in. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. And so again, my name is Susie Calderon. I am the new AGI certificate program recruiter and a coordinator. So I'm going to be doing these talks across all campus classrooms and different centers, like the academic centers, the career center. I'm even visiting the veteran center in a few weeks. So be able to talk to students about how they can add to their academic portfolio, right? So I also do teach at social work since 2009, and I've been with child development, I think 2017, around that time I came in and just love working with both departments, right? And also I'm a bereavement counselor for Kaiser EOP in Baldwin Park. And so career opportunities and the intergenerational footage you're about to see is going to again give you this lens and opportunity to see how that could be merging populations that come together. Also program mission and objectives of the Applied Gerontology Certificate Program, a little bit of program details, admission requirements, application registration process, post discussion, just to kind of see if we have any questions. And then from there, I know that we have the alumni that are going to be talking about their careers and everything that they're doing as well. So I wanted to start with something impactful that I think is going to really frame for everybody what is really happening across the world and also in the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this footage. And just as a side note, it is known that by 2035, adults that are age 65 and over will outnumber the population of the age of 18. In fact, 0 to 5 being born now is less than those that are 85 plus. So just as a frame of reference. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Dr. Dennis, I hope this works from this side. Let me know if you can hear it, please. It's okay?
It's not exactly Halloween style scary, but the U.S. Census Bureau predicted this past week that Americans over 65 will outnumber children just 15 years from now. So what might an aging America look like? Maybe something like what Ben Tracy finds in this postcard from Japan.
In the hillsides outside of Tokyo is the quaint village of Okutama, Japan. So this house is empty? And Masahiro Yamada has what is probably the most important job in town.
All of these homes the town's giving away?
His binder lists all of the empty and abandoned homes in Okutama, which he then gets to give away.
If somebody wants to come live here, they potentially could get this house for free.
He says, yes, if you live in the house for 15 years, we will give it to you for free.
That's a really good deal.
Yes, he says, we want people to settle here. Okutama isn't generous, it's desperate. In recent decades, it's lost half of its population. The main street is lined with closed storefronts. Most of the people who still live here have what you might call senior status. And at the local school, the entire third grade has just 6 kids. Not so long ago, there were dozens. So at Town Hall, the race is on to find new residents. Yamada has even resorted to playing Cupid.
So you fixed up a couple and then you gave them this house as a gift to get them to move here?
Yes, he says, we also gave them the house.
Anything to get people to move here?
We do it all. Nearly 1,000 other Japanese towns and villages face extinction because the country is simply running out of people. Japan's population peaked several years ago at 128 million. And if the dire forecasts come true, Japan will have as few as 59 million people by 2100. That means for every 2 Japanese residents today, there would be less than 1 left by the end of the century.
So if this really is a demographic time bomb, has the bomb gone off?
The bomb is going off.
John Mock is an expert on population issues at Temple University, Japan. He says what's happening in Japan is a preview of what many Western countries, including the United States, will soon face.
Take out immigration from the United States, you're going to have basically a decreasing population or very close to it. There's lots of yelling and screaming about immigration, but there's very little discussion in the United States about birth rates and what population do you want the United States to be.
In Japan, which has historically opposed immigration, immigrants now make up less than 2% of the population. That's led to an extreme labor shortage. And it's also why you see countless old Japanese men driving taxis in Tokyo rather than young new arrivals.
The real issue here in Japan is simple mathematics. Too few women are having too few babies. And their reasons may sound familiar. They're getting married later in life, and housing and educating kids is really darn expensive.
Those decisions will take a toll on Japan's economy. The International Monetary Fund predicts Japan's GDP will shrink by 25% over the next 40 years because of its declining and rapidly aging population.
What does this country look like 50 years from now?
I don't think Japan will be as wealthy as it is now, because along with the population shift, the average age of Japan is going up.
So Japan is being forced to get creative, reinventing nearly everything for what is now one of the oldest populations on the planet. Shopping centers are being retooled as massive rec centers for seniors, with stores catering to their needs. This high-tech mausoleum makes it easier for the elderly to visit their departed loved ones. And then there are the robots. Japan's long-lasting love affair with them is finally paying off. They will be used to make up for a lack of human workers and take on all sorts of jobs, everything from tour guides to talk show hosts. The bots are also being deployed to work in nursing homes and even perform funerals due to a shortage of monks.
Empty.
There is no robot replacement for Masahiro Yamada in Okutama, which is okay because his house giveaway is getting results. About 500 people have relocated here, including this couple who received a 2-story home and also opened a coffee shop.
Will you stay for 15 years so you get the house for free?
She says, yes, of course. But what also seems certain is that during those 15 years, their small town will get even smaller.
Anybody have any thoughts, any feelings about the footage you just saw? What did you see? What was most outstanding?
Professor Calderon, we're having some trouble hearing you, I think.
Can you hear me now?
It's pretty quiet.
Here we go. There it is.
There you
Almost
go.
got it up. Okay. So any thoughts, any feelings about what you just saw? Well, what stood out for you the most? Anybody?
Yeah, feel free to put it in the chat. Also put your name and your major. We have some people who aren't development majors. Anyone? You can also unmute yourself. It just made me think this is what's happening in the United States too, or this is where we're heading.
Yes, you can see that clearly. Yes. Anybody else? Okay, I see someone in the chat. So I wish I had the free housing available in California. That is so honest. Thank you for that. So there will be more need for the professionals in the field. Absolutely. Yes. They would take on drastic measures such as the free house. Okay. So that's usually the type of response that is from this footage, just because it just brings to light as far as the figures and the numbers show that this is something that could be happening in the United States, right? If things continue to go in this direction. And so the segue here is kind of rough, right? To go into the career opportunities, but you said it right. One of the persons on chat, there are then more career opportunities. As you're able to see, they don't even have enough people, right? They have to rely on robots. Well, here, fortunately, we do have people here that are willing to go into this gerontological field, and this is why I'm here today, is to tell you about this response that it's almost like a call to action, right? To be able to come into this type of field. And I know that there is, especially in social work, right, from what I've seen over the last 10 years, is that there is more interest in working with children, right, youth and adolescents, than there are with older adults. And so this is kind of like a hard sell, but I wanted to definitely start with that frame of reference with the numbers and how they're speaking about what's going to happen to us in the future. So when it comes to program administration, I think about the Alzheimer's Association, who I work with. We have people there that do more than just work directly with older adults. They work in that whole area of program administration when it comes to grant writing, when it comes to staff, when it comes to different creating different programs and being innovative with how they're out in the community. Department of Aging, we have great leaders in that whole arena when it comes to different cities and counties, and also the private and nonprofit agencies. And today I have an actual sample with the footage also that shows how one nonprofit is able to do that with an intergenerational approach of joining both young children and of course older adults. And then there's direct services. So we do dive into this individual and then group and community direct services that we provide as far as counseling. There's all sorts of different program creations when it comes to multi-purpose senior centers, park and recreation centers, anywhere where the older adults, live and play, right? So that's really where I just wanted you to think outside the box as far as just, working in a daycare center. And also, of course, support services. We do a lot of that. We do have a lot of resources and different types of programs and services that we give to families, right? So when we think about a child, we think about the whole child. So I'm thinking grandparents, right? We're thinking the adult in the family that also need that supportive arm and different services. And I hope that she's here. Let's see, I hope she made it today. She does work for the Frank D. Latterman Regional Center. Yesenia, I don't know if
Yeah, she just came in.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, great. So I was just thinking about you because I know that you're going to be talking more at length with that. And so just as an example as to how we provide that to families. And then what we're mostly known for is working with the home health care agencies, adult daycare centers, the community-based centers as well, and also hospitals and nursing homes, boarding cares, retirement homes, assisted living. And I'm going to go ahead and skip out of this one right now and just go to this link, because this is something that you're going to take away from today's presentation, is being able to know how to access those different centers across different parts of Los Angeles. So just let me take you there. So I know that you're going to have access to these slides. So once you click, I'm going to go and share my screen. Once you click on this particular screen, you're able to see, and as I was just telling Professor Dennis, is that there are ways for you to start thinking about these centers in an intergenerational approach, right? So even though you're not in child development now, or maybe you're thinking about, what other ways that is it that you can use your degree, think about just think intergenerational, right? As you were able to see, we are able to, or you're able to see here, you see adult care, right? You see child care, you see children's residential, continuing care. So already the California Department of Social Services has this licensing opportunity, right? And so this is part of just knowing that you create your own, right? If you wanted to then blend in both populations, I'm going to show you in just a little bit as to how people are being creative, just like in Japan, in repurposing their space, repurposing the different ways that they already provide the services and seeing how they can work with what the needs are in the community. So in this particular one, I'm going to go ahead, as you can see, childcare, right? I'm going to go to home care organizations. So if you go ahead and then put in County of Los Angeles, you'll see the numerous amount of places where there's career opportunities, right? These are all the different centers that are out there. And just for FYI, for your own particular use, if you were using this website to shop for a particular center for your own parents, for your own grandparents, this gives you the different types of reports and citations, if that's what is, reported to the CDSS, right? This gives you all the information you need. So I just wanted to show you this intergenerational approach is systematic or systemic, right? You can see all the different ways that California has them listed here and all the different types. There's also assisted living. This is more of a private sector, but there is a California waiver that actually does help provide that housing for older adults, and in that are career opportunities, right? That's where you see all the different ways that home health aides are there, memory care aides, right? The different kind of staff, nurses, social workers, gerontologists are there as well. So had anybody ever seen this website before? Just want to get an idea. And if you can maybe raise your hand, or if you want to put it in chat. Anyone ever seen this before?
I don't see any.
No.
Maybe one.
No, I've never seen it before.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if you have never seen it before, how do you think at this moment, how do you think you would be able to use this?
Maybe by, like, if you're looking for certain locations for a childcare for maybe for senior citizens, right? I know.
Absolutely, Vanessa. Yes, absolutely. Right, and you can see here 24-hour residential care for children. So that's the idea, is to be able to see that there are different ways that you can actually see your career in this particular field, right? So let me just go back to the PowerPoint. Let me see. Let me get in here. Okay, so this is the other list that I think is important for you to see, and looking and thinking about older adults and why it's important to even consider not just the certificate program, but just diversifying yourself, understanding why LA County Child and Family Services would maybe even think, oh, this person's coming in to apply for this job. Not only do they have a bachelor's in Child and Family Services, right? They also have this background in gerontology, or the certificate, applied certificate of gerontology, right? And so because that's important, because of grandparents, right? You see the different agencies where gerontologies would work, but also the county has this opportunity for you to think about outside the box, right? So they have let me go ahead and open this link for you so you can see this too, and hopefully you take this away from this experience here today. see. There it comes. Okay. So this is LA County Child and Family Services. As you can see, you can start working with caregivers, right? And in that is, of course, not just guardians, but also grandparents. You can see the pictures here is really what they're saying, right? They want to help, especially grandparents, and support services and being able to provide support groups, right? How to navigate the court system, general counseling, food and clothing referrals. All those are things that grandparents need to help their children. So this is where the one generation comes in as well. So let me just get out of that. Had anybody known this before? Just wanted to get an idea. Is this new information for you?
It's definitely new for me. And I think that, you know, people don't realize what's out there even, you know, once until they need it. And so, and even when they need it, they have trouble finding it. So it's great.
Okay. Yeah, and you could think maybe, yeah, you know, I want to work with the county, right? At the same time, just know that there's different populations that you can dive into. So in that particular segue now, I want to go to the one generation, grandparents as parents, and show you this. And then I'm also going to show you how they're hiring child teachers, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one here. Okay. Hmm. Maybe this is the link that's not working. Oh, there it is. Okay.
We've developed a highly innovative program here. It just organically grew so that seniors can interact with the children and children can interact with the seniors.
We have both the social and medical model, meaning we have medical supervision on site all during the day.
Here at the center, I provide nursing care, make sure that they have cognitive and social stimulation here at the center.
We are monitoring each of the participants individually and looking for the best ways that we can provide help to them.
One Generation is actually a very unique program. We integrate intergenerational activities and components into all of our programming.
So my job here is to coordinate all the intergenerational activities. I bring the seniors and the children together daily.
The interaction is really based upon not producing a perfect product, but the opportunity for them to work together, to cooperate, and many of the children develop friends.
Some activities are art or gardening or music, and some activities just mean that the older adults go over to childcare and they read to the children, or perhaps they feed an infant or they rock an infant to sleep.
They love coming over to see the seniors. It brings a smile to their face. They also have certain seniors that they look for and they run to, so it builds relationships.
And that is not only a compassionate building block for the child, but it's a wonderful addition to the services that we provide for the adults.
I really love the fact that I can bring a smile to the seniors' faces. Also the children, that give me joy, that make me so happy. And to see both of them together is just priceless.
knowing the clients, getting to know their personalities and their triggers and what calms them down, and kind of just implementing like your nursing, but also, you know, letting them have one-on-one interaction with you and getting to know each client specifically, and, you know, just seeing them happy, especially with like the intergenerational program.
This is an act of love for them every day, the care and compassion that they provide to the older adults. They treat them like their own family members, and it's very touching. So our staff is very special, but there is a great program deficit. So these programs do not pay for themselves. So as a nonprofit, that's our mission. And so we look for support from friends, from community partners to really sustain this activity. We are mission-based to provide this service to the community because we know there is a tremendous need, and there's going to be an increasing need as people are aging.
Any thought, and I promise that's the last footage, but any thoughts, any feelings about what you just saw?
Again, I think we're having trouble hearing you.
There you go. Okay. So that's, thank you. That's the last footage there. So any thoughts, any feelings as you were watching this footage right now? What do you think?
I'll say that, you know, I feel like that's great, you know, cognitive stimulation, you know, for the seniors to be able to play with the children again. And, you know, maybe, you know, as you get older, you do lose some of those motor skills. So I feel like children are learning those motor skills. So they're both like combining, you know, and learning.
Absolutely, Jen. Thank you, Jennifer, for saying that. You got the spirit of that, definitely. Any others? What did you see?
I really thought like that the children are learning to, you know, have respect for the older people and to really become familiar with them. And, you know, I think that helps to bring the generations together.
Absolutely. You know, when I was putting this together, I thought, you know, I often hear this from students, is that they either have some kind of surrogate grandparent because maybe they're not close to them, you know, or some of them did grow up with a grandparent, but now they either passed away or, you know, they've gone through a life transition. So that's what I'm thinking, is that there's less now adults being able to, or the adults that have small children, be able to put them in the same space, right, with the grandparents. So we create like the surrogate type of grandparent. How many of you did grow up with your grandparents?
I did.
Yes, right. So again, you know, just if you're thinking outside the box and you're really wanting to diversify your academic your academic career, right? This is one way to think about it. You know, and seeing how the one generation is able to do this because there's a need for it. As here it is, childcare teacher. That's what it was. Seeing that there's opportunities in these kind of spaces, I think is important for you to see from what you're used to, right, as far as the different kinds of jobs that are out there. Any thoughts about this information I'm sharing about careers?
These type of jobs, are they through the county? How you mentioned?
So this one is through a nonprofit, the One Generation. It's actually out in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay, I'm too far. Okay, that's good.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Where do you live, Vanessa?
I live in Whittier.
Okay, okay. So you may find that this is going to be like a new venue that is, you know, or a new work setting that is actually going to be in different places, because I was mentioning is that there's going to be a greater need for this intergenerational approach. It's really now here. So I think this is why you're seeing this type of work opportunities, right?
Okay, well, thank you though. It's really good information.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, I'll share these links with you as well. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get out of this one and go back to the PowerPoint. So thank you for bearing with me on the different ways that you can see how, as far as information goes, why it's so important as far as having the applied gerontology certificate. And I can see that Carla Diaz is here, and she's one of our graduates from that program too. But just to put it, as far as put it into more into focus, is this is a AGI information as far as how we are really looking at the numbers. And we do know that there's that baby boom generation that were born from 1946 to 1964, and they are the ones that are the 85 plusers that are coming in. So I always say that there's going to be a white sea of white hair discrimination as opposed to any other, phenotype, right? It's going to be a white, yeah, that white hair discrimination. Although I know there's other younger cohorts that actually are dyeing their hair gray, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe they want to look a little bit with, more wisdom, but that's usually what is, really gets to people, is that there is more respect as far as that, the type of older adults that they're seeing. So there are the baby boomers that have made a big impact in our country. Also looking at the different kinds of work. So we have occupational therapists, we have geriatric social workers, we have health educators, community health workers, gerontological nurses. And so that whole field, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, is really starting to hit, right? So the other thing, of course, is health. The healthcare field has expanded, as you know, with COVID. Now there's a nurse shortage as well. And so in that, we're brothers and sisters as far as social workers and nurses. We work out on the field, and we're usually in that same unit, right? Making sure that clients get discharged correctly. And so there's so many things after that as far as housing, which is what I mentioned earlier. So you're going to find different people with the gerontological background working in so many different fields. So this is part of the diversity that I think is important for students to understand, is seeing how they can grow in different directions and not just get, narrow-minded with just one particular population. Know that you can see it from a different perspective, right? So as here, the main thing as far as the mission is really it's a sign, as you're able to see, to assist individuals interested in increasing their knowledge or understanding the effectiveness of working with older adults. And because of the classes that you are required to take, you're going to be, this is what it's meeting, right? Is that mission to be able to really understand gerontology. And more importantly is for promotional opportunities. So I know that you may have your bachelor's in child and family services, or maybe in social work, or maybe in psychology, sociology, but this is part of, right, meeting that demand as far as getting more people with the same kind of understanding about the importance of older adults. So we look at the biopsychosocial processes, right? We're looking at the different demographic trends, and we're learning about different conceptual frameworks when it comes to cultural sensitivity, and looking at how diverse backgrounds really are important. Also, we're integrating theory into practice, right? So when you do your 90 hours of internship, as I think, at least I know Carla's here, she's gonna be able to talk about that, you really then take for what's in the classroom out into the field, right? And you're able to talk to your preceptor or someone in the work site, so you're able to really put that into practice. And I think that's really important as well. Looking to analyze the processes of aging in a culturally diverse community. Again, we have so many different types of sites that you can do your 90 hours that are going to be in different parts of Los Angeles. So hopefully, if those that are interested, you'll be able to see the different agencies that we actually work with. The other thing is that you take elective courses. So I'm going to go into the next slide that has that information as far as electives, but you are required to have 12 units from these required courses, right? Biology of human aging, Psych 3620, psychological and psychosocial developments, right? With maturity and aging, sociology of aging, social policy and aging, which is one of the classes that I love to teach. I've been teaching that one for a long time, and I see 2 students that are from that class. So thank you for being here. And also looking at the field internship practice experience, right? So this is where you do the 3 units. In one semester, you can do the 90 hours, and then you have the 6 units of electives. So this is this next slide. So you do have the prerequisite to this program is you have to have completed at least 2 courses or more from the required list, and then the completion of 90 hours also comes into play once you start with your 2 courses, and then it's a credit no credit grade basis, right? And you can see just some of the existing sites. Chinatown Service Center, I just kind of brought from different parts of LA, D.D. Hirsch Mental Health, the Frank D. Latterman Regional Center. So I'm glad you're here today, Yesenia, the Hollywood Mental Health Center. So also the Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena. And here are the electives that you can choose from. And we just added Child Development 3410, which is adults and emerging adult and older adulthood. So you can see that we're actually expanding the electives for being able to meet the different demands, right, from different fields. And you can contact Linda Valdez. She's the person I just started working with as well. And Dr. Villa, who's been there for many, many years behind this program. She's a powerhouse of innovative. She has so much research on this. So I'm hoping that we can help build this program. So thank you for listening. Does anyone have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns at all?
And there should also be some time at the end as well for questions, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Thank you so much, Professor Calderon. It was really helpful to learn all of this information. It is definitely, we're trying to encourage child development majors to consider this as a career and to consider doing the Applied Gerontology Institute certificate as one of, as their career pathway. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. That if you are a child development major, we can help make it real easy for you to be able to do the AGI certificate. You already have to take Child Development 3410, which is now one of the electives. If you want to take all of the required classes, several of those are already considered advanced topic electives. Remember, you have to do 7 advanced topic electives. So these would be at least 5 of them that you can do. 2 of them, you would need to email me to get approval that I can count those as your electives, but the others are already on our list of electives. And then, if there's other, the other electives that you need to do, if you're especially interested in aging, we have a couple of other child development classes that you could consider taking. But we would definitely help facilitate so that you could do the certificate, and it's not going to delay your graduation too much. So if you have any questions, or if you're a child development major and you need any advisement, feel free to email me. My email is jdennis@calstatela. But now we get to the other exciting part of our session tonight, and that is our alumni panel. We have 3 alumni here who are from Cal State LA. We don't have any, normally for these we have child development majors as our alumni, but because this is sort of a new career path for child development majors, we were able to find 3 alumni who have done the AGI certificate. I believe all of them did, but they were all social work majors. So definitely a major that's very close to us here in child development, and their experiences are going to be really interesting for us to be able to learn about how they got into this field of applied gerontology. So we have Yesenia Villacorta. Is Yesenia here? We have Jennifer Vega, and we have Carla Diaz. Hello, ladies. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. My name is Carla. I'm just really excited to be here and really excited to share some more information about the AGI program and kind of extend, all these resources that are out there for our current, students today.
Hello, Yesenia. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Very happy to be here and share my experience and continue sharing more information and questions that people, students might have. And I know I had a lot of questions when I was in your spot, so happy to be here and help.
And Jennifer?
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm so glad to see Susie again. It's been years since we were yanked out because of COVID. So I'm very excited to be here and to share my knowledge of, my pathway so far.
Great. So we have about, 45 minutes. I have a number of different questions for you. And so, because there's 3 of you, just kind of be conscious of keeping your answers a little bit concise, but please feel free to expand and tell us more as I'm going to make sure each of you can answer each of the questions. But my first question is, tell us a little bit about your educational background. We know that you're social work majors, but if you can tell us anything else. So we'll start with Yesenia.
Yes, for my educational background, well, I did get my bachelor's in social work. I actually did not get my AGI, but I did complete most of the classes actually without even really knowing. But that is where I'm at. Yes.
Great. How about Jennifer?
I am also a social work major, and I didn't complete the AGI, but I did complete most of the courses. But unfortunately, I didn't want to push my graduation date, so I chose not to complete it all.
And what year did you graduate?
Good old 2020.
And then Yesenia, what year did you graduate?
2018.
Okay, and then so you can see we have a range of each of you had a little bit different in the years, but pretty recent. And then how about you, Carla?
Well, I graduated more recently back in summer 2021. I did get my degree in social work as well, and I did complete the AGI certificate. Luckily, I kind of already had an idea of going into the fields with older adults, so I found out about that certificate a little bit earlier, and I was able to, make sure the rest of my classes kind of fit with, what was needed for the AGI certificate. And because social work has a lot of classes that kind of go hand in hand with the ones that are required, it worked out.
And so all of you have a bachelor's, none of you have gone on to a master's degree or anything. Okay, so you're able to work in the field with a bachelor's degree, all 3 of you.
Yes.
Great. All right, so can you tell us about your training and employment trajectory? This time we'll start with Carla.
Well, for me, I did do the internship with the AGI certificate. So I worked at La Posada Senior Apartments, and that really paved the way for the work I'm doing right now. I'm an ICMS case manager, intensive case management services with Essentia, which is a nonprofit agency for individuals experiencing homelessness or at risk of being homeless while they're at a hospital. And I work with older adults. So a lot of the things I was doing during my internship at La Posada, which was doing wellness calls. It was still during the pandemic, so we weren't able to do in person. It kind of translated into the work I'm doing now, which is a lot of wellness calls for our clients who are higher level of care. So they're at boarding care facilities, assisted living facilities. And it's just, those two intertwined a lot with, what I learned at the internship with what I'm doing now. And it really helped get this position that I'm at right now, having the certificate as my background.
Great. All right, how about you, Jennifer?
So I also interned at La Posada. It was between 2019 or 2019, 2020 internship. I highly recommend if anyone's, thinking of getting their AGI, La Posada is really well, you'll get every experience possible, whether it's adult protective services, whether it's helping, mitigate some resident conflict, as well as, really the exercise classes. So that was always fun and interesting. And you really just meet great people there. It's a really good base to start off, if you want to do into case management, which is eventually what I did. I work now for San Bernardino County. It's a program called Home Visiting Program. And although it focuses on children 24 months and younger, you really do deal with the family system. So, not all the time do these kids have their biological parents, sometimes they have grandparents as their caretakers. So I feel that, La Posada really gave me that whole rounded education on what to expect once you're really out there in the field.
Thank you. And how about you, Yesenia?
I also completed my internship at La Posada. It's a hidden gem. It really is. I learned a lot there. It's a Section 202 HUD housing, so you work with mainly older adults. I learned about generic resources there, you know, IHSS, access, food banks, a lot of translation. You learn a little bit of everything there. From that experience, I was able to then move on to be a case manager for one of the family source centers. And it pretty much provide case management to individuals and mainly families. So you work with like youth and of course the parents and goals related to financial, educational. I was later then promoted to be a CARES counselor, and I worked directly during the pandemic. Well, for individuals who've been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, housing, you know, the legality of people being evicted, just providing a lot of support and mental health support through that specific position that I had there. And I later on, well, where I'm at now is I'm at the Franklin Lanterman Regional Center, and my caseloads, it varies. I have youth who are transitioning to adulthood and all the way to my older adults. So I have individuals who have either intellectual developmental disability, who are living either independently within the family home, within a group home, SNFs, skilled nursing facility. Sorry about that. So I have a little bit of everything, but I do have my older adults there too.
Okay, so we have three different, so Jennifer, you're doing more home visiting and actually maybe more with younger children, but with the whole family.
Correct. Yeah, we focus, you know, our focus is on families and then teaching, you know, young children to make it easier for them to transition into whether it be preschool, Head Start, just school in general.
And then Carla is with Essentia, who specifically is with the homeless population. And then Yesenia, your population is, so the Frank Lantern Regional Center, could be any, it's with disabilities, individuals with disabilities. Okay.
Yes, I'm in the adult unit, but we still get those transitional youth. So I mainly work with adulthood all the way through their lifetime.
Okay. Interesting. All right. And then let's see. So my next question, and we'll start with Jennifer this time. What does a typical day look like for you?
So my position is specifically called a program generalist. So I'm in charge of recruiting people for the program. So it could be, you know, making calls. Actually, so it has to be families who are on CalWorks, you know, or cash aid, what they call. So my day looks like, you know, trying to have them enroll into our program, do a lot of case management. I have a caseload about 20 right now, 20 children. Or 20 families, and you know, update paperwork. Sometimes we do what's called growth assessments. So I'll go to the homes and we'll do, you know, just the weight of the child, head circumference, and input that all into our system. I also do, there's a lot of meetings, so we do a lot of presentations, you know, share resources with the rest of our colleagues. Let's see what else. That's pretty much the majority of it. I mean, there's a lot of more little things, but yeah, it's good work.
You're both in the office and go out into the field.
Right.
Okay. And how about you, Yesenia?
A typical day. That's a little bit hard to say, but I do home visits, quarterly or annual meetings, depending on their living situation. I develop IPP plans, complete the CEDAR, so it's a consumer evaluation reports. And depending on the day, I can go to a court hearing. I could do behavior planning meetings. I could do residential placement options depending on my client. I go to IEPs as well. Let me see. I think that's pretty much all. It kind of depends on what happens that day, what emergency happens that day.
Wow. So it sounds like it keeps you busy because you're constantly doing something different.
Yes.
Okay. And how about you, Carla?
Well, for me, I work more one-on-one with my clients. All of them are older adults or adults with disabilities at the boarding care facilities or assisted livings. So it's just doing either in-person visits to check in and see how they're doing, especially at assisted living facilities, which are much larger. It's making sure that, you know, they're receiving their 3 meals a day, medications are being distributed as they need to be, and also doing like accompaniments with them to doctor's appointments, making sure that they're conducting all their mental health care appointments if they're meeting with a mental health care provider, just kind of working and with their multidisciplinary team to make sure that all their needs are being met and making sure that they are stable at their housing.
So, and it sounds like you're in the field a lot as well.
Yeah.
So let's see, next question. What inspires you and motivates you the most about your work? We'll start with Yesenia. Another way, you know, what's the best thing about your work? What do you like the most?
Honestly, it's seeing what my clients can achieve. It's you know, I know that, you know, they have a disability, but a lot of my clients are, some of them have a law degree, some of them have their own business, and I love that they are achieving these goals, even with you know, as many barriers that they can see. Sometimes that, you know, the labels, right? But they're so smart. Some of them are so independent. So just seeing them achieve these goals and doing amazing things with their life.
How about you, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I guess, you know, the most rewarding thing would be actually reaching out to families, the ones who do accept the program, and just showing them, you know, that there's more to the county than just, you know, getting food stamps, welfare, you know, that we are actually out, there's programs out there to help them. And, you know, if it's children, especially, you know, it's kind of hard for parents to tell if there's a development delay or something happening, but once we're in the picture, you know, we can help them identify those things and give them resources, whether it's to Inland Regional Center or to another program nearby. So I just feel that, you know, reaching out to these families and making them aware of different programs is great.
Thank you. How about you, Carla?
Well, working with older adults is very rewarding. A lot of times this population is just so grateful to have somebody advocating for them. And, you know, many times these clients don't have family members that are involved in their care. So being able to help them, you know, maintain their health and their housing is just very rewarding. And also connecting them to services that they didn't have before and like they can use in the future. It's also, you know, one of the highlights.
And then with that, what is the most challenging thing? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Carla.
Well, working as part of a multidisciplinary team with, you know, doctors and mental health care providers and the staff at these facilities, sometimes, you know, just following through with things with like the other departments can be tough, you know, kind of have to hound them like doctors for referrals and stuff like that. But it's just, you know, remembering that you're advocating for your client and just staying organized can be a little bit difficult sometimes. I have a caseload of 21, so it's just, you know, 21 different things going on sometimes, but for the most part, it's manageable. Just organization is key.
And how about you, Yesenia?
I can definitely agree with Carla with the organization part. My caseload, it's over 90. So it's definitely a lot, and these are, some of them can be, you know, intensive. But I think one of the challenges is mental health. We don't necessarily have like a contract with mental health department. So when the regional center is in place, it kind of lands on us, but they need that extra support. And it's just honestly the political part in it, where who has the client, right? And I think it's just fighting for those services for our clients can be difficult. And the conservatorships, how a lot of our parents are seen with the conservatorship is the only like choice they have once their client turns 18. I think for me, it's hard to put my own ideas on what, you know, that they have different options, but how do I explain this? I don't know if I'm making sense, but sometimes I'm not in agreement with the conservatorship process, and I know all of our parents seek for it, and I can't, it's my own opinion, but I think sometimes just that there's a lot of things going on there. I'll just say, like with the Britney Spears going on. So I think that's something that's really big going on right now within the Franklin Lantern and overall with all of our regional centers.
So you're trying to help them be more independent, but yet they still have these legal issues as well. So yeah, it can be frustrating. Okay, so how about you, Jennifer?
Definitely a challenge is, we're not reaching as many people as possible, as many families, because we're funded through the state and it's through CalWORKs. We can only service the families under CalWORKs. So that sometimes is a challenge where, you want to help someone else. There's more people that aren't necessarily getting cash aid and do need help. Again, organization, that's a big thing too, keeping your caseload, keeping all your notes in. That's sometimes is a challenge when you got 20 million different things going on. But I'd say that's probably one of the most challenging aspects of it.
Okay, so let's see. Next question is, given what you know now, and I mean, it sounds like, being in social work, you knew you wanted to do something similar, but what do you wish you would have known when you were an undergrad? What do you wish that, is there any training, anything else that you wish you would have done differently? Is there anything that you wish you would have paid attention to more? Anybody want to volunteer to start with that one? What you wish you would have done differently, Jennifer?
I wouldn't say necessarily anything differently, but I would say, at first when I started social work, I didn't want to go the child route or work with children, but that's where I ended up. So I do wish I maybe would have learned a little more about child development, which would help me now, but also just I would say maybe as an advice to everyone, just really look into technology. I can't tell you how much that has helped me at my current job, just to make your work more efficient and keep yourself organized. And jobs really look at that. If you're computer savvy, they're like, hey, can you write up this form for me? Can you do this? And it really puts you in the eye if you're looking to move up.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good to know. How about you, Carla?
Well, for me, just kind of knowing it's okay when things don't go exactly as planned. For me in my undergrad, I had like this very streamlined plan during my first 2 years. And then, I found out about the AGI, things happened in my life, kids and, just knowing that that's okay. And, you'll still, end up at some place that you maybe didn't imagine, but that is still good. So just knowing that it's okay to not go with your first plan right away.
Right. And I think that's where, paying attention to, different ages and different possibilities, because you don't know necessarily where you're going to end up. All right. How about you, Yesenia?
I think being flexible, I love working with my older adults, but to build my experience, I had to work with children, right? I had to work with adults, and I had to learn, and being just open to learning a little bit more than what learning more and different approaches, right, to use with our families. And I had to even take a medical terminology class to kind of understand, because I see psychological reports, I see medical reports. If I wouldn't have taken that, which is not part of the social work, right, field, I would have never really understand all these specialists that, my clients see. So just being open to learning more and just flexible who you're willing to work with, because you can learn a little bit from that experience.
And you all did your internship at La Posada. Can you tell me a little bit more about what La Posada is, and then how did that prepare you? So even though, you got a set of skills there, how did that connect to your what you're doing today, Yesenia?
Oh man, La Posada taught me so much. It helped helping me build like a directory, trying to find resources for my clients. I feel like now if I'm being asked, how do I apply for Access? How do I apply for IHSS, right? How do I apply for SSI? I'm able to provide that information to my client. And generic resource, not a lot of people know them, right? They don't know how to apply. It can be challenging. So I feel like that experience taught me so much on how to find the resources, pretty much.
And so is it a nonprofit agency that, what exactly is La Posada for those that aren't familiar?
La Posada Apartments is a senior housing. It's a Section 202 HUD housing. So HUD provides subsidy for our older adults, and they also have accessible units.
Okay, I see. And then how about you, Jennifer? How did that connect to working with children or working, in home business?
Yeah, so like Jasenia said, the resources and how to apply for certain programs out there. I will say when I did work or intern at La Posada, I wanted to go into IHSS. I wanted to, help these adults. And I did get hired for San Bernardino County to do that, but I quickly found out that that's not the type of help I want to provide for seniors. So actually I went back to the home visiting program. So La Posada just helps you how to really interact with people. That's super important. I feel like how to talk to people, not be afraid to approach them, not be afraid to ask for help, or even ask them if they need help. As well as reaching out to different agencies in LA County, whether it be IHSS for one, Access, APS. Sometimes, you get lost in how to even submit a report if you do suspect abuse. So all of that, I feel, just helps you along the way through different jobs, whether you're not calling the same places.
So if someone does the AGI certificate and they intern at La Posada, then it's great experience no matter what kind of career that you're interested in. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel that most places ask for case management and you get that experience there.
Great. And then how about you, Carla?
Well, La Posada like paved the way for what I'm doing now. It's almost like exactly what I wanted to do. And it really solidified that I wanted to work with this population, just doing one-on-one check-ins with clients. Like I said, my internship was during the pandemic, so it was all over the phone. So I definitely logged in a lot of hours on the phone, just checking in on my clients and connecting them to resources, like Yesenia and Jennifer mentioned, like IHSS, SSDI, and, just learning about these things and now using them today, kind of got me a little step ahead in what I'm doing now. I'm like a lot more familiar, and also kind of learning how to build rapport with these clients, especially if English is not their first language. But yeah, it's definitely paved the way for what I'm doing right now.
Great. And so the last question I have, and so while people are answering, you can all in the audience be thinking about if you have questions and maybe putting those in the chat. But do you have any advice for current Cal State LA students, especially, well, not especially, but including child development, people who aren't necessarily social work majors, but even if people who are, what would be your advice for current Cal State LA students? So we'll start with Jennifer.
I think I'd like to go back to what Jasenia and Carla said, like be flexible, if plans change, it's okay, roll with it. If you do decide to do social work, other than child development, just know that everything's interconnected, whether it's the family systems, social environments, where no matter what degree you do decide to get or what certificate you get, just know all of these things are going to be interconnected. And as long as you learn these things, you should be able to do great. And again, the technology part, really learn that and see how it could be efficient for you and once you're in the field.
Thank you. How about you, Yesenia?
I would say to take advantage of the opportunities that Cal State LA brings. So, just with the certificate alone, that would put you at a higher level, right? Like you'll send out. At Frank T. Lanterman Regional Center, they're opening a unit just for 50 for adults 50 years and older. It just shows you that the demand is there and there is funding for these programs that are expanding. And also just get involved with CalState LA. There's a lot of programs there, so take opportunity of what CalState LA can bring, the experiences there.
Great. And how about you, Carla?
Definitely just piggybacking off of Yesenia and Jennifer, just take advantage of all these hidden opportunities at CalState LA and, try to learn as much about these different programs, become really eclectic and, be open-minded to different things that you may not have thought you would be interested in, but, that are out there.
And in all of your workplaces, do most of the people that you work with have social work degrees, or are they from different majors? Do you also work, probably Jennifer, you have some people who are child development majors that work with you. Yeah. And in the others, do you have other majors that work with you?
Well, I work a lot with social work majors, but also occupational therapists is, something that's really growing as well. And because we are part of multidisciplinary teams, like I said earlier, doctors, nurses, caregivers, facility administrators. So it's a lot of different things.
Same. So sociology, social work. At least we work with adults, so we don't have child development in our department, but we have LMFTs, we have marriage and family counselors, and we have our clinical team. So we have doctors, we have our nurse consultants, we have our autism team, and we have our dental coordinator. So I work with a lot of specialists as well.
And are any of you thinking about going back to school to get more education, or do you feel like, you have what the education that you already have, is enough? Any future plans?
I'm still thinking about it. That's why I haven't applied. I'm not sure if I want to do social work or even take that extra step into nursing, because like they mentioned, nursing or the medical field is big in each of our facilities, I feel like, and the money is a little better, I'll have to admit. But I'm not sure either that or public health or social work. So
I do want to pursue my master's. I am between social work and marriage and family counselor. So I'm still deciding, and of course life. But yes, with everything that I've learned here at the regional center, definitely has motivated to continue my education, because I do see, like I said, psychological reports. I see diagnosis and trying to understand everything. So it's definitely motivated to continue.
And I'm also in the same boat, looking into hopefully fall semester next year for MSW. But yeah, definitely after that, maybe LCSW. But I do know that for MSW, they do want you to reach into different populations that you maybe didn't do. So that's something I'm excited about as well.
Great.